How is an industrial plant sterilized?
Who mixes paper with steel and hamburgers?
What good is a muslin Paris original?
How do business machines keep library books moving?
Industry on Parade. Peabody Award winner for public service, produced on film each week by the National Association of Manufacturers.
Preparations for one of the many injections doctors administer to combat disease or otherwise protect our health. Of course, solutions which enter the bloodstream must be pure and sterile, clean and free of even the tiniest microscopic pyrogen or fever-producing agent. To meet such rigid requirements, facilities which produce injectable materials must be sterile themselves, as we'll see in a visit at the Union, New Jersey plant of the Sterile Pharmaceutical Corporation. All the building's air enters through the controlled intake valves of an air conditioning system which removes dust particles as well as maintaining desired levels of temperature and humidity throughout the plant. The system also maintains positive pressure, meaning pressure within the building is greater than that outside. Thus, the flow begins in the centrally located sterile areas. From sterile rooms, circulation is always toward the outer, non-sterile areas. Before entering any of the sterile rooms, workers must don special clothing and wash their hands as thoroughly as a doctor does. Each dressing room is equipped with ultraviolet drying machines and germicidal soap, along with a selection of sterilized apparel completely free of lint. Hair and face are covered by a hood which envelops the entire head, with the eye opening sealed off by goggles, giving the worker something of the appearance of a visitor from outer space. Also, in preparation for a day's production, each sterile room is thoroughly scrubbed. All surfaces are wiped down with sterile sponges after spraying with a sanitizing cleaning agent which captures all dust. Finally, a high-intensity, mobile ultraviolet unit is set up in the area to kill all remaining germs within its range. Cleanup accomplished, production gets underway. In a thoroughly clean but non-sterile area, empty bottles are prepared to receive a solution which will be used in treatment of diseases of the eye. Bottled in the sterile area, which we see through the glass in the background, the solution moves out for packaging. Nothing is left to chance by the pharmaceutical industry, which supplies in great quantities the weapons we need in the war against disease. Weapons produced in plants well guarded against the enemy bacteria.
In America, thousands of true life success stories are being written every day. Here we have the opportunity to make of our lives whatever we care to make of them, and there is no limit. This constant movement of men upwards in the ranks of business is one reason why American industry has never stopped progressing. Someone is always carrying a new idea up the ladder. This, in turn, helps everyone, for always new ideas, constant improvements of methods and products mean higher living standards for all Americans.
An experienced restaurant worker starts training a newcomer in the routine of a business that grew from a $700 hamburger stand to a national chain of more than 80 without changing its basic ingredients. The flat White Castle hamburger has patented holes to permit quick, uniform cooking. But that's only part of the story, which also includes a paper company and a steel plant. How come? Well, E.W. Billy Ingram, whom we meet here inspecting some of the metalwork, decided a distinctive prefabricated steel building would help him sell those flat hamburgers. Experimenting with various types of finishes, he had the first one made to order, and then set up a metal division to manufacture more. As the restaurants boomed, so did the steel plant. Along with another division, Ingram organized to manufacture the paper hats he wanted for his workers. Special machines were designed for the purpose, and now they turn out 50 million paper caps a year for a long list of customers. Through all the years of growth, the restaurant's design has changed hardly at all from the one Ingram drew up for that first White Castle in Columbus, Ohio. Also unchanged, as our beginner will discover, is the founder's practice of getting to know his employees personally by visiting each restaurant at least once a year. The customer in this case is the boss himself, a man who regards a hamburger as a career. In serving good food at low cost, he sees as bright a future as there is in any business, and he makes sure the food is good by starting on another of the more than 25,000 hamburgers he's eaten since 1921. This one served by a young man who also finds a permanent, profitable career based on the not-so-humble hamburger.
American fashion experts receive a package containing a new Paris original. The French designer Patou created a coat with a new back look, then shipped it here to Vogue Pattern Service, which bought it to make available to the 40 million American women who sew their own clothes. Among the first to see it are the artists in the design sketching room, responsible for the drawing that will go on the pattern's envelope. The artist records each line and fold in her drawing, since the pattern inside will be exactly as Patou created it. The Paris originals and the many American designs created by the pattern maker's own experts are made up in toile or muslin. And it's from these prototypes, carefully fitted on live models for movement and then on mannequins, that the first master patterns are traced on heavy paper. Black tape emphasizes each line on the big sheets, which will be photographed to produce the plates for use on high-speed printing presses. By following these lines exactly, a professional dressmaker or an amateur will be able to reproduce the original section by section. Clearly labeled with description and instructions, the master pattern is ready now for the plate makers and the printers at Condé Nast's Greenwich, Connecticut plant. Here the presses are big and fast, but delicate enough to handle the tissue-thin paper required for patterns. And the drums which receive the work are specially designed to compensate as they turn, so that the lines of printing on all layers are in exact registration. Since all the layers are registered, hundreds of them can be cut, trimmed, and perforated at once. A bandsaw handles a stack containing up to 1,000 pieces, even trimming off the margins to save the housewife the trouble. The girls who put the pattern pieces into the envelope have fingers as agile as those of a pianist. They have to, for the whole run must be rechecked if a final count shows one piece missing or one left over. An average pattern of 25 or 30 pieces fits easily into a single envelope, which carries on the outside not only the drawing of the finished garment, such as we saw being sketched a moment ago, but also recommendations of fabrics the designers believe to be specially suitable for the particular pattern. These fabrics often will be available in the same store that sells the pattern, because their buyers generally base new selections on advice from the pattern maker's staff and on personal inspection of Vogue's big fabric library. Here, such a buyer finds samples of the best materials available in the New York market and a knowledge of seasonal trends eagerly awaited by his store's fashion-conscious customers. Home sewing, it's estimated, now produces 1/5 of all of our women's garments. The ladies find it easy these days to reproduce exactly the Paris original or the new American design they've dreamed of in the color and fabric of their choice. Assisted by the pattern makers' fashion authorities and by improvements in patterns themselves, Mrs. America and her daughters stay in front ranks of the best-dressed women of the world.
We Americans are always trying to find better ways of doing things. Our forefathers, who pioneered and discovered new frontiers in this country, have been supplanted by the scientists and technicians in American industry's laboratories. Every day, every week, every year, someone is discovering a new product or improving an old one which will benefit all of us. Each year, industry spends more than $2.5 billion in research that creates new jobs, more and better products, which help all of us to continually improve our standard of living.
In St. Louis County, Missouri, a glass-walled building, once an auto showroom, has become headquarters of a public library. And the conversion of the structure to save time in getting it started is only one of the unusual aspects of the institution. Here, modern industrial devices and techniques save time for librarians and readers alike. For example, dictation machines saving laborious paperwork. With adequate air conditioning, smoking is allowed, and so are pets. The customer is always right. Behind the scenes, the librarians have only to refer to the recorded information for a given day to find all the data they need to get a book back into circulation quickly after it's returned, or to issue a reminder about the ones that are overdue. The overdue notices themselves reflect the library's informal salesmanship. Among the many machines, this one rapidly letters title and author on a reconditioned volume, while others are used to speed and improve the intricate cutting and gluing operations involved in book repair. For every new volume received, a graphotype machine embosses a plate with title, author, subject headings, and other vital information. This plate, used later in an addressograph, allows printing of cards and forms in a tenth the time previously required for repeated typing, allowing the library to put more of its funds into new books and to circulate them more widely. Another indication of the new approach may be seen in plans for improvements in the library's fleet of mobile units. With them, the St. Louis County Library moves its stock to the public, as any good salesman does, spreading knowledge and pleasure at minimum cost to a maximum number of customers in a manner pioneered by modern business and industry.